from beautiful Lyster, Quebec, quelle unité!
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. K100, make water burn. Yamaha, conquer outdoors.
I'm Bill Diva, host of Lumberjacks TV series, just about 45 minutes from beautiful Quebec City, the little town of Lyster, Quebec, for this Lumberjack competition. I'm with my co-host and Lumberjack sport analyst, Rod Cumberland. Now, Rod, this field is comprised of about 22 guys, all of them excellent choppers. We're starting things off with the underhand chop.
That's right. JP Marisset, Donald Lambert from Eastern Canada, both guys great choppers in their own right. But coming up from the States, Dave Jewett and Mike Sullivan, those guys are phenomenal in the underhand chop. Look for those guys to come out on top in this event.
You know, before every Lumberjack competition, you always have a meeting with the competitors. This one's being hosted by our show organizer, Hugues Filion from Lyster, Quebec, Luc Normand from Montreal, along with our announcer, Stéphane. In total, we had 28 competitors, 22 of them are men. They're going to be competing for over $5,000 in prize money, and we're going to be kicking things off with the underhand chop. It's going to be a great day today.
Hello, my name is Jean-Simon Bertrand. I'm a welder at Rico Steel, and I live in Sparwood, BC.
Hello, I'm Chris Sikora. I'm from Springwater, New York. I'm a public health sanitarian.
In this first heat of the underhand chop, we have Simone Bertrand taking on Chris Sikora. Both these guys are excellent sawers. We're going to see them a little bit later on in the show in the modified saw. Right now, they're swinging an axe. You want to be a good lumberjack, you got to be able to hammer the wood.
And look how the axe that actually Chris Sikora is swinging is a black handle. It's a fiberglass handle, Bill. Most guys use wooden handles in their axes. Chris's is fiberglass.
Nice, clean, white wood there for Chris Sikora, but he's not really hitting his lines. He's stair-stepping all the way through that, and he's also got not a very good pace.
Jean-Simon opened up to a knot on his first side. Sometimes that'll throw you a little bit. You're worried about your axe, dulling in your axe, but he's doing a great job, has a good pace right now.
Simone Bertrand really outpacing Chris Sikora. Chris right now trying to keep an eye on his lines and doing the best job he can using strength. Simone Bertrand wins the first heat of 34-02. Chris Sikora trying to power things off on his drive side. So you did a lot of work on the front side, and obviously you punched the knot right out, and left very little work on the back side. Is that normal chop for you?
I try to go as deep as I can on the first side, because if you don't have a good first side, doesn't matter what you do on the second. You know, if the first one's not done right, you're gonna spend hours on the back side.
Some great advice there from Jean-Simon Bertrand. Usually that's what a lot of young guys just starting out on the chops fail to do, is put their one-on-one drivers in there good and deep on the bottom on the front side.
Here's heat number 2 of the underhand chop. We got Hugues Filion, the guy putting on this show here today, taking on New Hampshire's Jerry Gingras in the underhand chop. 34.02 is the time to beat, set by Simon in the first heat.
Jerry Gingras, obviously another sawing specialist. He just opened up to a big knot. Again, that really messes with your head in the underhand when you see that.
Good pace by Hugues as he makes his turn over to the backside. Nice, good 3-step turn. Jerry Gingras really powering through that wood.
Two guys have slipped on their switch from side to side already. Jerry Gingras, same thing happens to him. He's breaking it off there.
Jerry Gingras lowers the time to beat down to 21.5. Not sure if his block is severed. Luc Normand, the head judge, is going to have a look. Jerry, you had a pretty good chop there. You know, you made your turn, I think, about right time, but didn't quite finish things off.
Yeah, I got turned around, lost my balance a little bit, stepped off the block, and then went to drive it off, put the driver in. The top of the block was broke good. It peeled up, so I didn't have nothing to stand on, but left a little piece hanging.
So did you know that coming off, or did you have to be told by the judge?
No, I knew it coming off, but I wasn't going to take a swing still standing on the ground.
My name's Calvin Willard. I'm from Barnet, Vermont, and I'm a consulting forester and a logging contractor.
Hello, I'm Gaston Duperret. I'm from Saint-Henri-Tarion, Quebec. I'm working for Rio Tinto, Alcan.
Well, it's never nice to take a DQ. Jerry had to take a DQ in that last heat. He didn't get the job done. Hugues Filion now lowered the time to beat to 32.55. Here's Calvin and Gaston.
Oh, look at Gaston's block. It's falling apart. His axe is chewing this wood alive.
Nice clean lines on the left-hand side for Gaston. Calvin Willard, axe sticking on the front side before his turn.
Left a pile of wood on the front side. He's going to have to drive a lot harder on the backside now.
Gaston really using his power, picking up the pace right now, but he's power things off, driving through. Gaston lowers the time to beat 22.64 in the underhand chop. How is the wood there? Your axe seemed to be sticking. Is it because you're hitting so hard, or is the wood very soft?
Oh, both. The wood is softer than I was thinking, and I try to go fast, but go fast, need the deep hit, hard hit, but I think it's not a really good cut.
If you had to chop another block, the same block, would you change your axes? Would you change your axe if you chopped another block?
No. No, I was just, our movement would be longer to have more penetration.
Well, thus far in the underhand chop, Billy Cornelius in an earlier heat at a time of 22.69. Gaston Dupré lowers that by 5/100ths.
Welcome back to Lumberjacks in the second annual Lumberjack competition here in Lyster, Quebec, about 45 minutes from Quebec City. Lyster's home to about 1,600 people and is located right on the Trans-Canada Trail. It sees many of the tourists from outside the region here to explore its beauty and tranquility. A very popular destination for visitors is Camping Tropical Campground, a location just outside of town. It's home to some seasonal campers, along with the locals finding it a great place to unwind and relax. Pretty clear to me that Lyster is a great place to visit, an even nicer place to raise a family. Well, we're here at the Lumberjack competition right alongside the riverbanks in the town of Lyster. We're heading into the Springboard Chop. We got the top 4 heats that we're going to show you. And once again, we got Simone Bertrand versus Jerry Gingras. They've been seated together a number of times over the last couple of weeks. We saw them in the modified saw. We saw them in the single buck. Now we are into the Springboard Chop. And Rod, you and I both know this is the most challenging axe event for any lumberjack.
The Springboard Chop event actually gets its origin on the West Coast. We call it tree surfing in the lumberjack world. Out in the West Coast where they have the large butt flares on the western cedar trees, they used to chop a notch, insert a springboard to get up above that butt flare so they have to saw or chop a lot less wood to get that pole in the ground.
A lot of people don't realize, Rod, that in these lumberjack sport events, these guys are chopping. These poles here are 9 feet in the air. It's a little bit unnerving to be on what is considered to be maybe a 2x8 plank, swinging a razor-sharp axe. You can see Jerry's got a big notch there, cleaning things out with his fingers. Simone Bertrand, his second notch, he must have been happy with his first one.
Because they spend about 40 seconds at the top chopping the block, they take their time on the second notch. Usually you can do what we call a 2 and 2, 1 stroke down, 1 stroke in, but these guys will actually take a little bit more time, make sure that board is solid in the tree.
Both guys getting into their second notch at the exact same time. Looks like a good angle there for Jerry, and Simone is right with them. Gonna flex the board a little bit. Both guys axes into the wood at the exact same time. They got 10 inches round to go through now, but I think they're hugging the tree a little bit too much. Some arm chopping going on, and that happens. Looks like Simone's now going down there.
You saw when Jerry Gingras went to jump up on the second board, the notch was not very deep, Bill. Usually if you only put a 4-stroke pocket, the board isn't in there very far and it'll sag down.
So now they're having to suck themselves up to the tree a little bit more. Can't get the power behind the swing they want to do that. Simone's way too close to the tree as well.
Jerry Gingras, being in that tight, of course, he can't generate any power off the spring of the springboard or in his legs. So these guys are arm chopping these blocks at the top.
And it looks like they're running out of gas. Certainly Jerry's looking to run out of gas. Could have a bit of a tough log to go through as well. Simone's made a turn over to the backside. He's trying to put some slicers down, but look at the far wood. He's got still lots of work to do.
He's got about 3 inches slicing it off on the far side. He's got to really reach around that block in order to drive it off. Jerry's just running out of gas. Again, he just wants to get this block on the ground.
Simone's putting some drivers in here, ready to win this heat. Simone Bertrand wins the first heat with a 141.22. You had a good climb and a good chop up top, but on the backside, did you spend more time on the backside up top than you wanted to?
I haven't went deep enough on the first side. I was afraid of my board. I thought it was going to sag down. And I just get closer to the log and turn as quick as I could.
You made a decision to make 1 chip up top on the backside as well, because they were all drivers down, and you made 1 chip just to clear out a little bit of wood.
Absolutely, just get the axe freer for the downswing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There it is, heat number 1 with a 140.22. We got some excellent choppers yet to come. Here's a couple of guys who've been rivals for a lot of years. Both guys now, certainly in the twilight of the career, in their 50s. JP Mercier, Gaston Duperre, a couple of French Canadians. You know, they may not win this overall springboard competition, but you know these guys are going to go 100% because of who they're going against. JP against Gaston, a classic.
They're also so consistent in all the events, Bill. They're great at the sawing events. They stay right in there in the chopping events. This is a great event also, Springboard Chop. They love it. But like you say, where they're going against one another, they're going to give it all they have.
Looks like Gaston was butchering his first notch, that's for sure, and looks like he had to take out a couple of chips, which a lot of guys do with their hands. JP's up on his second board, and you go, this is an event where you gotta rely on some experience a little bit here.
Notching is where the experience comes in. Usually it's one stroke down, a flat stroke in, then another stroke on the 35 or 30 degree angle, then your second stroke in. You see Gaston's board, that split out of the pole right there. That's going to cause him trouble.
Yeah, well, he's up on his second board now. I don't think he's quite comfortable with it. He's really a little tenuous as he swings that first axe. He's not taking his left foot out to the end of the board where it should be. Look at JP's left foot. Out the end of the board, getting a lot more power behind his swings.
Actually, Bill, you can feel with your back foot when you take that step back on your board if it's soft or if it's firm. If it's soft, you're going to pull in a little bit tighter to the tree. If it's firm, like JP's here, you're going to stand back, use that spring, and really chop as hard as you can.
Yeah, Gaston's running out of gas, but look at JP driving things off, lowering the time to beat down to a 1:10.26 in the springboard. You had a hard time with your first notch there. You just weren't happy with it. You kept working on it.
Yeah, I didn't like it, so for somehow I missed my target. It went flat too high. Then I had to keep digging in to go deep enough so my boat could hang on it.
So you learned some lessons there. Your second notch was really nice.
Second notch was perfect. I just went in, bang, 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 and then I knew by looking at it, that's it. I can stick the boat on that one.
Which makes everything up top a lot easier.
Very easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
What a great shot of a picture-perfect notch in the springboard chop. JP Mercier using that to his advantage and setting the time to beat at 1:10.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Insect Defend Patch. Deep-free protection from biting insects.
Now, welcome back to Lyster, Quebec for the Lumberjack competition, actually a second annual Lumberjack competition. We're halfway through the Springboard Chop right now. Earlier before the break, we had 2 heats to go. We got 4 top-notch choppers coming right up.
Mike Sullivan, Colbert, Connecticut, bow sales rep.
My name's Calvin Willard. I'm from Barnet, Vermont, and I'm a consulting forester and a logging contractor.
Well, this next heat, we got Sullivan taking on Calvin Willard and Rod. This is a little bit maybe like a David and Goliath competition. Sullivan has been around for years. Calvin Willard, relatively new.
He's a great chopper, though, and they placed him together because of that. The only thing is, as a new chopper, when you get put in an event like this, a springboard chop that lasts a long time, with a guy the caliber of Mike Sullivan, it plays in your brain. You know you're going to be up there. If you have something go wrong, you're going to be chopping forever while the guy that wins it standing there watching you.
Well, I was watching Sullivan. He had a 4-hit notch in his first board, up in the first board in a jiffy. He's happy with his second notch. He's up in his second board. He's into the wood. Calvin Willard still on his second notch. Look at the big slab coming out of Sullivan's log.
Mike Sullivan loves a springboard chop. He's putting everything he has into it. Calvin's doing a good job on his second board. He wants that one to hold him. And look at Mike. He's eating this wood alive.
Nice, clean lines. You can see those surfaces. Big, huge slabs of wood coming out. Nice, clean lines means he's hitting his marks.
Exactly, so he wants to switch over now. Mike's on the drives. He's actually driving a little bit low. He's got to get that drive up high enough so it actually splits a block off.
He's having a hard time there. I can hear some grunts coming out of him. Mike Sullivan lowers the time to beat to 56.35.
Mike took a little bit longer, I think, to drive it off than what you wanted to what was going on at the top.
Just needed a 1-and-1 on the far, that's all.
So too much wood on the far side.
Yeah, that, and then I mishit it on those slice. I didn't line them up good. If I lined them up, it probably would have been a couple hits less, but still needed a 1-and-1 on that far wood.
Yeah. Good springboard, Mike.
Thanks.
Well, you know, Rod, maybe you can explain the 1-and-1 that he did not do that would have helped his time a little bit.
Usually if you take an upswing on that backside to clear all those chips out, you have a whole lot more room to stick your action to drive off that far wood. He was slicing all the time, and again, he just kept stepping up and up and up.
Last heat in the springboard chop, 56.35 is the time to beat. We got Lambert versus Dave Jewett. Dave Jewett, look at the speed on doing that notch. He's got to have a lot of confidence. Donald's hanging right there with him.
You typically think these guys were outclassed a little bit. Donald Lambert, not really great at springboard chop, but he had a 44-second second chop in New Brunswick just a few weeks ago, I mentioned earlier, and he's up against Dave. Look, he's ahead of Dave Jewett right now.
Lambert slams his axe into the wood. Now he drops his board. This is going to give Dave Jewett a chance to overtake him for the lead in this heat. Dave's into the wood up top, and he's got a pretty good board as well.
He's fast like a cat climbing. He's got looks like he's got a bone of a block here. Did you hear that thud into the side of that block?
The axe is just not sinking into the wood. Donald Lambert doing a little bit of house cleaning. Dave's seems to be slowing down. Maybe he's frustrated at his wood.
This is where it comes down to luck of the draw, Bill. And Donald Lambert has drawn a nice block. Dave Jewett has drawn a bone. He's having a hard time getting through it.
The wood and the chips are hanging like crazy, which causes a little bit of opportunity for the axe to glance. He impairs the vision. Donald's on his backside.
He's starting to drive it off already. Dave Jewett is going to be back. Donald Lambert takes him down.
With a 103.36. I know you're a little bit angry because you probably could have done better. You dropped a board. What happened there?
The second board?
Yeah.
Well, I missed probably my fourth hit, and at the bottom I made some stairs. At the bottom I wanted to have it a little bit square, and when I pick up my board, I was checking my hole, and I was not sure, so I just missed. I just dropped my board.
Well, you had a good chop up top. I mean, your lines are a little bit bad there, but still, you must have had a good block.
Yeah, the block was good there. The axe just penetrated just right there. The chip comes out quite properly. Even if some was holding first two hits, but in the hold was good.
Good job, thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, well, some places encourage you to keep your eyes on your fries. We got to encourage Donald Lambert to keep his eyes on his board. Mike Sullivan wins it by 7 seconds. Yes, sir. It's Lumberjacks coming right back at you from Lyster, Quebec, and a great competition we've had with a whole lot of chopping and sawing. I'm going to change gears right now. An event called the water boil, often referred to as a kettle boil. We're going to be showing you 2 heats of the kettle boil. The first heat, we're going to have 4 pair of competitors. The second heat, 5 pair of competitors. What are the rules to this crazy event?
It's an awesome event. We love doing this event on the East Coast. You get a solid block of wood, 1 axe, usually a couple of matches and a can of soapy water. You got to build a fire as fast as you can, put the kettle on, give the heat enough so that it boils that soapy water up out of the can.
Now, obviously, you're going to have to start small. You can see a couple of blocks there by Dave Grime. He's not going to use and light those big blocks. They want to start the shavings and build from there, right?
There's no way you can put a match to a block of wood this big and expect it to start, so you've got to start small, make shavings. Usually the trick is, watching Gaston here trying to get his going, is you got to get the matches underneath the shavings so the heat comes up through and actually starts them. You watch Gaston here, he's actually putting his matches on the side of the shaving so the heat's not actually coming up underneath and able to catch those shavings on fire.
Well, Mr. Muller and Mr. Morris are doing an excellent job getting things going. Gaston and Donald, our true blue Canadians, are really struggling. Gaston's actually using 2 matches at once, trying to strike them, get a little bit bigger flame.
Not a bad idea. Usually we're allowed 5 matches in New Brunswick. I use all of them at the same time. Keep 1 off to the side, start with 4 because you get a big flame. It actually is a lot more heat to get your shaving started.
Here's a team of Dave Grime, and he's kind of smothering the thing with these 2 big blocks around the front. How's he going to let any air in?
That's quite interesting. The other problem he has is the blocks are holding up so much of the can, there's very little fire hitting the bottom of the can. I don't think that thing will ever boil.
Well, Donald's son, Michel Lambert, is in this heat with Marcel Poirier doing an excellent job and leading the way at this point. They got a huge fire going with most of the team still struggling along.
It's great to watch this from the crowd because you see fires just all of a sudden erupt up when they get them going. See, fellows usually will blow on them. There's a lot of strategy here. Whether to see, you can see here the blowing on the fire. Watch the sides of the can. You need to have a lot of wood around the sides of the can because once it starts boiling from underneath, if you don't have that wood and the fire on the sides of the can, it won't boil up over the top. There's a great example right here.
It's boiling over the edge. We got some great fires going on. Looks like this one's coming up over the edge, and the winning team is Marcel Poirier and Donald Lambert's son, Michael Lambert, celebrating the big victory with a time of 4:14.16. As we head into heat number 2, he's got the crowd all gunned up and a big celebration with Uncle Marcel. Heading into heat number 2, we got 5 teams of 2 pair of competitors. Calvin Willard, Vince Maciel, Jewett Mercier, Billy Cornelius and Chris Sikora, Gingras and Sullivan, and Hugues Filion, and Jean-Simon Bertrand. They got to be the favorites.
In the East, we usually have a singles kettle boil. Right here, we're watching a doubles kettle boil. Usually a singles kettle boil will be over in about 3.5 minutes. With 2 guys, usually it can get done a little bit quicker. The fellows, what we're seeing here, of course, is a lack of experience. A lot of these guys have never done a kettle boil before in their lives. Hugues Filion, though, did it at college. He should have an advantage.
Jerry and Mike are going to struggle through this one. Mike told me before the show got started, he says, I do this, once a year, maybe once every 2 years. But it's always a great event to have at the end of the day. It's a good kind of celebration event, and it's a little bit more relaxed.
If it's really dry wood, you can get away with a lot more. If it's wet, you've got to take your time, make sure the shavings are really tiny, and get the thing going.
Well, you can see the last shot of Simone and Oog. They were trying to close the fire in. Here's another shot of Jewett and Mercier. They got things closed in to try and contain the heat, because otherwise the heat's going to escape out the sides, and you want it heat in your can.
Amazing to see Jewett and Mercier doing that well. This is, again, two guys that don't do this hardly at all.
Time is 4:14. The clock is right now coming up to 3:45. Right now we got a rolling boil at the bottom of the can for Simone Bertrand and Hugues Filion. We're creeping up on 3:50. They got to get the job done real quick here.
This is the stage of the game where you hope you have the fire up the whole way around the side of the can so it won't just stay there and hold like this can's doing. Hey, Vince Maciel and Calvin Willard having a great fire going here. They may actually be in the top 5.
Here we are coming up on 4:05, and there it is! Simone Bertrand and Hugues Filion win the water boil with a time of 4:04 flat. What an excellent job. You know, as you call it, Rod, Hugues has learned those skills from McGill University when he was on the Woodsman team there. What a great job by all the competitors in the water boil. But the overall champions are Simone Bertrand and Hugues Filion, with Jerry Gingras and Mike Sullivan wiping up the rear.
And the crown pivotal point today focuses on Donald Lambert, a great example of perseverance in the springboard chop as he takes down Big Dave Jewett.
And our overall standings here in Lyster, Quebec, a whole lot closer than we had thought, with Simone Bertrand winning the water boil, coming within 25 points of Dave Jewett, our gas guzzler Lumberjack of the day. Dave, overall champion here today in Lyster, Quebec. Pretty good field of competitors, some Canadians and Americans, but again, consistency is the name of the game, right?
Yeah, it really is, and I think people at home don't realize the field of competitors that were here. I was just thinking about it. You have the 3 cuts on 15-inch log. You have the best hot sawyers in the world here. Probably one was missing. 2-man teams, 2-man crosscut, best sawyers in the world were here. Both sawyers, the best in the world were here today.
With a second year in a row, another very successful event here in Lyster, Quebec. This year, the weather is a little bit more on our side. Hats off to Hugues Filion and the whole town of Lyster for putting this thing together.
In a lot of sports, usually it's the young guys that dominate. Interesting to watch today here in Lumberjack sports. It seems to be the guys with the age and the experience that pull it through every time.
Come back again next week. We're going to be in St. Stephen, New Brunswick. But once again, it's going to be time for Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. K100, make water burn. Yamaha, conquer outdoors.
Couple of quick tips for the obstacle pole buck. First of all is picking the saw up. After the word go, some guys will actually grab the back handle, which drives your bar into the dirt. What I'd rather do is grab the middle part of the bar on the middle handle. So when they say 3, 2, 1, go, I'm off and I've grabbed the center of the saw. It's well balanced. When I hit the log, the next thing I'm doing is as I'm traveling up the log, I'm switching hands so that my pull cord hand is on the pull cord and ready to start the saw as soon as I hit the line.